All right. So I'm just going to mute you all so we have a quiet environment. And then I would just ask that you all, since we have some new people here today, I'll just go over what it's like to come together in an environment like this where we're all online. So it's the same as if you were going to a live yoga class or a live meditation class. Because we're all together in this virtual circle here, imagine that you were coming into a live meditation class. So you would walk in, you'd sit down, and you'd be still, and you listen to the teacher just like you would in a live meditation class. So because a lot of moving on the screen and a lot of up and down and going in and out, it creates a lot of distraction for all of us in the circle, just like it would if we were in a live meditation class and somebody was moving around the whole time, or they get up and down and come in and out. It would create a lot of distraction. So treat it just like you would as if you were coming into a live meditation class or a live yoga class, and you come in and you give the circle, everybody in the class, the teacher, your full attention. So I want to thank you all for joining us and for your interest in this meditation class, and also for the kind of bump up and add on to the Yoga for Anxiety class that I put out this Friday. And in a few moments, you'll have a chance to introduce yourself and where you're joining us from in the world. But first, what we do is we begin with a centering. And then we have a mantra that we just see how it lands in our body each time. And then we introduce ourselves, where we're joining from in the world. That happens actually after I give a short teaching talk. And then we do a guided meditation, which is done lying down. And before you lie down for the meditation, I'll give you a chance to get whatever props you need for that. And I'll tell you at that time. Afterwards, you'll have a chance to speak about your experience with the lying down meditation. So that's what we're going to do. The whole class takes about an hour and a half. We'll be done in 90 minutes from now. And if you have to leave before then, that's fine. You can just, I think in the top corner of your screen, you can just X out, and that will allow you to leave. So let's begin with our centering and grounding. So if you're seated, feel the earth underneath you, underneath your feet. And also feel your connection to the earth if you're seated underneath your buttocks. And just take some time to come into your body and feel your body's connection to the earth. And notice how that drops you down out of your head into your body, into something much bigger. And notice what that feels like from the inside of your body. This is called interoception, feeling your body from the inside, and then feeling your connection with the earth. And notice what that feels like for you right now in this moment. And as you open up to the qualities of the earth underneath you, notice the vastness, the openness, the stillness, the stability, the sense of security. Notice those qualities as they begin to intermingle, as they begin to enter into your body and into your being. And how that affects your internal sense and feeling of your own body. And from this sense of stability of the earth underneath you, lengthen up through the entire length of your spine, the base of your spine, up through the crown of your head, lengthen up through the back of your head. Let there be a slight tuck in your chin, and notice how that opens up the back of your neck. Let there be space between your teeth. Allow your tongue to float in your mouth. Let your elbows drop directly underneath your shoulders. And again, feel into the internal sense of your body, perhaps open into a sense of spaciousness and openness in your body. And then let there be a very gentle attention on your breath coming into your lower belly, about 3 finger widths below your navel and 2 finger widths behind that. So staying connected with the earth underneath you, your body, and your lower belly. Just hear the words of our mantra and notice how they land for you in your body today. No right or wrong, no better or best. Just feel how it feels in your body when you hear them today. Remembering I am intrinsically good without exception, and that I have been given this precious opportunity of my unique life. I find ways to engage in daily practice in my everyday life. When I open to the vastness, stillness, silence, peace, and stability of the earth, that vastness, stillness, silence, peace, and stability opens into my body and being. Remembering that my heart is open, tender, and responsive, I enter into my relationships as a part of my daily practice in my everyday life. And then staying with this sense of internal connection, this spaciousness in your body, breathing into your lower belly, staying connected with the earth, just feeling how that feels in your body. And noticing how you are connected with your own sense of spaciousness, awareness, competence, safety, trust, and self-expression as you here are connected with the earth, your own sense of internal awareness, and that very powerful space of your lower belly. And know that each person in our circle here is also connected to that place of safety, to that place of inner support and trust, to that place of inner understanding, awareness, competence, and self-expression. And that we know no matter what they are speaking about, no matter how painful their experience may seem, there's no need to give advice here. So we can practice reverence and love and compassion for each person here with loving kindness by speaking from the words I and not you, and by giving each person here the dignity of their own experience, no matter how painful it is. There's no need to rescue or give advice because we know that each one of us has access to this inner wisdom that we're connected with right now. So when people are speaking from their own personal experience, and as each one of us speaks using the words I rather than you, there's no need to give advice or fix or change them. Okay, so you can start to transition now from this inner awareness to our circle. We're going to move into the teaching talk now. This month of August, we're focusing on the three jewels. And in Buddhist terms, they are the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And as a yoga community, we've been focusing them on our awakened nature or our true nature, the teachings, which is something that we do here each Monday at this time. I give a teaching, in our community. And these three things are inextricably linked. And this Friday, I offered a class on anxiety. And I do feel that when we are experiencing anxiety, we are somewhat disconnected from our true nature, because there is a feeling of overwhelming lack of trust in our world, and we're disconnected from the sense of inner security and safety. There's a feeling of being out of control and completely groundless. And when we experience anxiety, it's that kind of being caught up in our egoic thinking. And we wear ourselves out with relentless thinking, which heightens the nervousness in our minds. And then it translates to our bodies, which I spoke a lot about in our class, where I spoke about how the nervous system turns on and the hormonal system turns on, and there's actually a release of cortisol and adrenaline, and it kind of turns into this feedback loop. So there's a sense of being in danger or threat and not being able to cope with what will happen. So we're really disconnected. And when we experience anxiety, we experience this kind of irrational fear. We're hypervigilant to the negative, and we worry excessively about the future. So we're caught in this endless feedback loop of our mind, and our minds spiral continually, mentally scanning. And this really uses up our physical and mental resources, and it leaves us feeling exhausted. And what I want you to note about this is that our energy is very much in our minds, in our heads, not in a physical way, but in our minds, and not in our bodies. So when we're experiencing anxiety, a question that we can ask ourselves, and the question that we often ask ourselves when we're doing somatic meditation, is, where is my attention? And with anxiety, usually our attention is in our minds, and it's all over the place. And as a result, our body is full of tension and restlessness. So what happens when we practice somatic meditation is that we choose to focus our attention elsewhere. We place our attention with the sensations in our body. So instead of wearing ourselves out with this kind of relentless thinking, which heightens the anxiety, we connect with our bodies, and we consciously make the decision to be still. So somatic meditation offers us a way to connect with our bodies and the earth and release all of that nervous tension, or as much of it as we can make conscious, into the earth. And then what happens is we, over time, begin to connect with a sense of safety and inner security. So when we're doing somatic meditation, we're really connecting with a feeling of inner security and inner rootedness. It allows us to open to, and I really want to highlight or stress and say that there's really nothing wrong with anxiety. We're all going to experience anxiety. It's normal, and it's also very normal to get caught up in the feedback loop. It's part of the experience of anxiety. And when we practice somatic meditation, actually, and I spoke a lot about this last week, so if you want, it would be very wise to go back and listen to last week's talk. What happens is when we start to do this meditation, we actually become more aware of the full range of human experience. So we might start to realize that, I am having this experience of anxiety, right? We start to relate to our whole range of experience, whereas before we might have walled off the experience and not even realized we were having it. Now we start to realize, anxiety is happening here. And just like any of the other emotions that we've opened to, and we've spoken about this across the series of the Yoga of Emotions series, so we've spoken about things like anger and isolation, sadness, we can open to the emotion of anxiety. It's not a problem. Anxiety is not good or bad. It's simply an expression of energy that is looking to be open to, that is looking for the attention. And when we open to the free-flowing quality of anxiety, we can attend to its energetic nuances in our bodies and our minds. And with somatic meditation, it's your body rather than your mind that becomes a place of awareness for the meditation practice. So in this style of meditation, we are opening to the awareness that's already present in your body. And the more you do this meditation, as those of you that have practiced this know, the more you build the neural pathways so that it's easier to open to the awareness that is present in your body. At the beginning, it's not so easy. You're building neural pathways. So your human body is actually always aware. And through somatic meditation, you're able to tap into it. So the first thing is we're going to pay attention to our body. So sometimes we pay attention to parts of our bodies, like the skin or the muscles or the blood or the bones. And sometimes we open to sensations in our body, like tightness or tension or gripping or holding on. Sometimes we pay attention to energy in our body. And the other very important thing is that we pay attention with openness and acceptance, without any judgment or prejudice, without any agenda about what we might discover. And we let go of interpreting what we're going to find. We let go of limiting and controlling our experience, and we open into what is actually happening. When we lie down and tune into what's happening, we don't know what's going to happen. We may lie down and think, oh, there's going to be so much tension in my shoulders, and then there might not be any tension in our shoulders. We might find something completely different shows up. We might lie down and think we're going to be so anxious, and there's really no anxiety. We may lie down and think we're so tense and find something completely different. So we lie down and we let go of interpreting what's happening. We let go of controlling our experience. We allow our body to lead, and we just enter into what's actually happening, what's actually unfolding. So the reason why we do this is that we often in our day-to-day lives distance ourselves from what's actually happening in our bodies. And this is very true of anxiety. We usually distract ourselves from anxiety. We usually distract ourselves from stress and pain and the things that are happening in our bodies and our lives. Anxiety can be an incredibly uncomfortable experience, and we often turn ourselves away from that experience and from things that cause that experience. And when we practice somatic meditation, we are going to stop denying our experience. We're going to open to even the most painful and emotional aspects of our experience, our lives, and what's going on in our bodies. Because what's painful can be transformed. What you'll find is when you tune into your body and you take something that you've turned away from and you bring it into your consciousness and awareness, it doesn't stay the same. It's actually quite fluid, and it begins to transform and even dissolve and let go. So we do somatic meditation to attend to the tension in our body. And the question may be, where does this tension come from? Well, any experience that we have that we've unconsciously labeled as problematic or painful, and most times I think anxiety would fall into that category. But what happens is, without even thinking about it, we withdraw from those experiences that we think are uncomfortable, painful, problematic. We try to get away from them. We try to evade the experiences. And we do this by tensing up our bodies. And we have tension everywhere in our body. We have tension in our bones. We have tension in our muscles. We have tension right down to the level of our cells. And this tension is a way of avoiding our experience, whether that tension or that discomfort is physical or psychological. Our tension is a human way of closing down to experience and shutting down our awareness. And this is a very human thing to do. It's not something that we judge, and we can be very kind and gentle with ourselves as we open to it. So we do this somatic meditation to attend to the tension in our body. We notice the tension. And at first, we might only notice numbness, and that's completely fine. And eventually, we start to move from numbness, and we start to feel tension. And then, as I say, in this world, nothing stays the same, including tension. Tension doesn't stay tense. You'll notice that tension starts to change and shift and dissolve, and you'll begin to release the tension, and then you begin to relax. And we begin to release control of these kind of self-imposed ego structures. And with somatic meditation, we're opening to, as we release this tension, we create this sense of inner security, so that we begin to open to a greater range of human experience. With this sense of inner security, part of that greater range of human experience can include anxiety. It becomes okay. And so in this meditation, we're learning to open our body, to discover where we're holding on, and to develop the capacity to release and relax and let go, and then open to what happens next. And it's not that our lives become easier and that the people in our lives become easier to get along with and start behaving the way we want them to behave, because that's not what happens. What happens is that we're creating this environment of inner security by letting go of tension. And when we connect with our body in 10 points, we're opening the gates, we're unlocking the gates to be open to whatever happens in our lives. So that, these situations that are uncomfortable, that make us anxious, we realize we have this sense of inner security to be able to be open to it, that it's okay. We realize that these people that make us uncomfortable, that don't behave the way we want them to, we have the sense of inner security that we're okay. We can be okay with it. We get in touch with our body. We get in touch with the tension of our body. We release it. So we're developing this emotional and spiritual capacity to be present to our lives, including things that make us anxious, situations and people. And over time, there's a sense of inner security that comes from that ability to be present to ourselves. And this is not a linear journey. You know, it's not like, okay, I've done this somatic meditation for a year, or I've done this somatic meditation 100 times now, so now I'm done, and now I'm good with everything that happens in my life. No, you're going to have setbacks. You're going to come back, and you're going to be in this incredible anxiety loop, and then you know you have the tools. You come back and you do 10 points practice, and you practice because you have this tool that you can find this inner environment of security, inner security again, no matter the circumstances in your life, right? So it's, you know, we're human beings, and we practice with kindness and tenderness and without judgment. So I wanted to give you that add-on from our Yoga for Anxiety class, because always in the membership community, we go further, we take things a little bit further. So I'm going to hand it over to you now so that you can introduce yourselves and respond to that, ask any questions that you might have, let us know where you're connecting from and your name, and then we'll go into the actual meditation yourself so you can have an experience of it in your own body.
Well, let's not all go at once. I'm Kelly. I'm coming from Kingston, Tennessee. It was 12:30 when I started. I don't know what time it is now. My intention is to just release a lot of tension today.
Thanks, Kelly.
Hello, I'm Lucille, and I'm connecting from Toronto. I'm Jane, and I'm in the UK.
I'm Petra, connecting from North Vancouver, and for this last week has been really tough with the smoke from the BC fires, and brings up a lot of anxiety and a lot of I have irritable larynx syndrome, which means when it's irritated, then it closes up, makes me feel like I can't breathe, and sometimes it makes it very difficult to breathe. And I had an episode a while back where I had to take a sabbatical for 2 months from smoke that was in the city. So it brought back both some trauma anxiety and some real reasonable anxiety. So it's cleared up a lot at the moment, which is great. But could really use some practice on some nice mindfulness would be great.
I'm Nikki, and I'm connecting from Kingston, Ontario, Canada. And this is a time of year, I'm a teacher, so this is when I have to get ready for the upcoming school year. And I had to move classrooms this year. So I've started to have the anxiety that I'm not going to get everything done the way I would like it to be done. And so I went into school today and I started to unpack, and I told myself that I would work until it was time to come home to be here. And I have a pattern of just usually working until I'm quite tired for the day and I haven't eaten and I haven't had much to drink, because I have that anxiety to get as much done as possible. Today was a very different experience to make this appointment with myself to be here. and then follow through with it. And I did have that moment when I thought, well, I could just stay and I'll do the recording later. And I thought, no, you've made a plan. You're going to go home and you're going to take that step. And I'm just so glad that I did. So I'm hoping that this time of year, this year, I can get everything done with the confidence. I know it's going to get done. What needs to get done will be done. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to plan some time of either yoga or meditation every day, and maybe in the middle of my doing at school.
Nice.
I'm Linda. I'm connecting from Netherlands, and I just posted a new recipe in the food section 2 weeks late. And it was also because you just read it later. And it's because of this feeling, not knowing what to do and getting more anxious every day, like, oh my God. But so I'm happy that I did it, but it's an interesting thing to stay with anxiety too, I think. And what you said, like, things are not going to be out of your life, but they will get in and they will get messy and everything. But I think it's getting easier to deal with it. It's my experience. It's quicker to be aware of what's happening and to be with it instead of blocking off. So I think that's making life easier, to accept it, to know that it's like that and that shit happens. So yeah, makes it easier in some way. Yeah, thanks to the meditation for me.
Hi, I'm Tina
Hi, Tina.
from the UK. I'm connecting from the UK. It's been the first time I've been able to join the group because I'm normally working. I work in a school as a teacher, an assessor, and SEN coordinator. So normally during the term I do have a bit of anxiousness, but I've just come back from a 4-day yoga retreat, which I've done for the 3rd year running, and I'm feeling okay, apart from finishing a master's course I'm doing, which I was halfway through writing an essay, and I thought, no, I'm coming to join the group today. And as Linda says, things do get easier, and I think it is easier to be in the present and actually reduce any fear.
Thanks for being here, Tina. Jane and then Madeline.
I'm Madeline, connecting from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. opening to anxiety is challenging, and it feels like interesting. There's just a lot of struggle to just not pay attention, not feed the discursive thought, and just open right into the feeling of the anxiety. But when I can find the space, when I open to it, whatever it is, I'm not quite sure yet. There's a shift in how fast my thoughts change, and and my breathing.
Thanks, Madeline. I find that to be really true of anxiety, that it is a very difficult one to open to. It's very, Jane, you did a wonderful DYC on core beliefs. Yeah. I think there are a lot of core beliefs around anxiety, and our knee-jerk reactions around them as well are very much tied around the core beliefs. And just yesterday I was talking with a friend about the kind of ways we respond to anxiety. She was talking about whether she was saying anxiety shuts people down, and I was saying, well, so that was sort of her core belief, right? When I have anxiety, I shut down. And I was like, well, when I have anxiety, I speed up. Like I do more. Like I try and control everything in my life when I have. So I think it can be really interesting to observe our behavior when we have anxiety versus opening to and what Madeline's saying, I think is so very true, right? There's a walling off of the actual embodied experience of it. And then there's this kind of core belief that I think ultimately that I shouldn't be having this emotion. And then the knee-jerk reaction, whether that is to shut down or to do more, or somewhere, wherever you are on that spectrum. But it isn't to tune into it, really, right? Yeah. But what we'll see is with this meditation, and what Madeline's saying is that when we actually can have that awareness that things do actually shift, it's very hard to have that kind of awareness in the moment, or that to tune in and to be in the body. It's a very strong emotion.
I think too that with anxiety, it's not such an explosive emotion as anger, for example, or fear. It's, for me, I think it's almost every time I make up a story about it.
It's so
flips in, and then a story, and then the story gets bigger.
Yeah.
So that's the problem, I think.
Yeah.
Because the reaction is to try to understand it, or to talk
yeah.
story so it goes away, or work so hard that you don't feel it.
It's so much more in your head, you're right. Whereas some of the emotions actually can bring you so much into the present moment and so much into your body, right? Like grief, sadness, anger, they're just like, there you are. You can't help but to be in the present moment.
Yeah.
But this kind of anxiety just puts you in this feedback loop of your mind, and it takes a huge amount of awareness to pull yourself out of it. And that's why I mean, after last week's talk, you can understand why I'm hesitant to say this, but I do really feel that this emotion of anxiety does pull you away from your connection with your body and your true self, because it's so much in this feedback loop of dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe your friend that said she withdrew, maybe that's a lot of people with anxiety also have depression. I have a lot of depression, and
yeah, she was talking about that
more when I'm depressed, but anxiety, definitely got to clean the house or something.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do anything to control the situation. Yeah.
I think for me, it's a lot of nervous agitation. It comes, I don't know what to do with it, so I have to get rid of it somewhere.
Yeah.
So let's scrub things.
Absolutely.
At least make it a positive thing, right?
Yeah, sometimes it's handy to clean your house.
Yeah, I think though that it's not healthy when it goes on and on, days, weeks, right? That's where when we look at the three jewels, right? The teachings, the sangha, right? And coming together like this, we can have that awareness, like, oh, this has been going on for a while. My house is really clean now, right? Or, these kind of markers, right? Like this time of year this brings these things up for me. We can know, right? And then I think it is useful to have these practices to know, okay, this practice brings a sense of inner security. These yoga practices bring me down to the earth and into my body. And then that is very useful and important. And while I do not like to be prescriptive, I think in the case of anxiety, it is actually quite useful. Because otherwise you're just up here. You got to come back into your body. Anyway, sorry, Jane, go ahead.
I was just going to say that it does get better. I think with this practice, the more you do it, the easier I find it to deal with things like anxiety. As you see, it's having the tools to know what to do with it, whereas perhaps before, I would have run around and cleaned the house and got really, really agitated. One of my daughters has terrible anxiety, and she goes to sleep. She just blocks it out completely, and she's gone. And she'll get up for a couple of hours and she'll say, oh, I'm so tired, I have to lie down. And it's just that she can't deal with everything that's going on. And to try and get out of that is horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
Once she's got into that spin,
mm-hmm.
and all she wants to do is to just sleep, then to try and get her out of that is such hard work.
Yeah, and it's actually something physical that happens in your body, right? The hormonal reaction, right? It's this overload of adrenaline and cortisol. And then it's exactly what I was talking about. You choose to go unconscious to it, right? Because it's too painful, it's too overwhelming. And it is a coping mechanism. And so this is another way that will actually lower the cortisol and the adrenaline, right? Rather than having it racing through your body, and help you to deal with the tension and release the tension. So these coping mechanisms, it's not to judge yourself for using them, right? Because they were useful. They're our body's way of coping. And now we have other tools. So let's use this tool. Let's go ahead and lie down. So for any of you that haven't done this meditation before, you're going to want to have a yoga mat and then probably something like a folded blanket or something on top of it, so you have a bit of cushioning. And then you're going to be lying with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor, or you can have a bolster underneath your legs. So whatever works best for you. You could also have a yoga strap tied around your knees. The idea is that you're lying in a way so that it's comfortable for your low back and your inner thighs, and you want maximum comfort. And you also want your low back to be comfortable as well. So I will let you get settled here. And as you lie down on the earth, begin to feel the earth receiving you and just how comfortable it is to lie on the earth. And feel, just even as you lie down in this way, how the earth begins to receive your body and receive tension from your body. And start to feel how your body is releasing tension. So you want yourself to be able to relax completely without any effort at all. You're placing your palms, hands down on your lower belly, and you want your elbows to be able to rest heavy on the ground. And you're closing your eyes so you can have that inward focus. Here, somatic means to be able to feel your body from the inside. 10 points means you're feeling your 2 feet, the 2 sides of your buttocks, your mid-back, your 2 shoulder blades, your 2 elbows, and the back of your head on the ground. So feeling the earth, feeling its solidity, feeling its support, just let your body settle. And allow yourself to relax into the earth, feeling the support of the earth underneath you. Allow yourself to be held. And just feel that sense of security coming from the earth here. You're feeling your body release its tension, surrendering the tension to the earth. The more grounded you feel, the more open your body can be to whatever experience, including anxiety. So when we feel disconnected from the earth, we have to hold ourselves up by ego strength, and we have to control our experience. And this really breeds that kind of subliminal fear and tension that we feel as anxiety. And just this simple act of lying down on the ground allows us to open, connect to the earth underneath you, and let go of that kind of subliminal fear and tension. Let go of any need to hold ourselves up with that ego strength and control. So with this meditation, we begin with our feet. And you open your awareness into your feet. And you begin by breathing into your big toes. So feel your big toes on both feet, breathing into all the pores of the big toes. And see what you notice. Feel what sensations are in the big toes of both feet. And it doesn't matter how much or how little you feel. Over time, you will feel more and more to the sensations that are present in your big toes. You're feeling into the mass of your big toe, the bottom of your big toe, the sides, the top, the hardness of your toenail, the main body of your big toe, the toe bone, And just notice if you're feeling any discomfort, any achiness, any gripping, any holding. Knowing that we have plenty of time, allow yourself to open to the sensation. And when you tune into your body and feel it from the inside in this way, you will uncover all kinds of subtle and not so subtle sensations that you wouldn't have been aware of before. So you're breathing into your big toe. You might begin to notice some kind of holding and gripping, feeling the tension. And what you'll find is that the sensations are fluid. They change, they shift. And that the tension will begin to release and drain downward into the earth. So you begin to relax, release the tension, let the energy go down into the earth. And as you breathe into the big toe and release the tension, you may find tension let go in your feet and even other areas in your body. And you may find your breathing slow down. Follow the wisdom of your body. Notice how your sense of feeling the body from the inside begins to awaken and heighten, and see how present you feel in your body. And now breathe into your second toe. You're actually able to breathe through all the pores of your skin. Open to the tension in your second toe. And just like your big toe, notice how that tension shifts and changes and releases and relaxes. So you're going to let that energy go down into the earth. And then breathing through the pores of the middle toes. Open your awareness into the middle toes. Connect with whatever sensations you find. Feel the bottoms, the middle, the sides, the toenail. Notice any gripping or holding. Notice how when you connect with the sensations in the middle toe, other parts of your body may begin to release and let go. So your body wants to release as you release in your foot. And that's because the meridians of your body run throughout your feet. So by letting go of tension in your feet, you're relaxing your entire body. And then open your awareness into your fourth toe. Breathing into your fourth toe. And it's okay, it takes time to build these neural pathways. Opening your awareness to the tension, any gripping, any holding on. You're developing a fuller experience of sensation in each toe, each tension, each process of release. And developing this capacity may require many repetitions of this meditation, but each time you practice, you'll notice an increasing ability to feel sensation in your body and to allow tension to release. So as you release tension in your feet, you are opening things that were kept in your unconscious into your conscious mind. So in a very gentle and natural way, you're softening the barrier against feelings and experiences you may have been avoiding or denying or repressing. And you are releasing things that you've walled off and that have been created as tension in your body, and you're releasing that tension now. So accessing our larger, undiscovered feeling life through our body is the safest way to do it. And we're going gently, we're following the guidance of our body. And then open your awareness into your baby toe. Breathing into your baby toe, feel the very unique experience of your baby toe, the way it's retracted, pulled back, the tension, the unique tension of your baby toe, and feel the opportunity to release your baby toe. And then open into the ball of your foot, feeling the area behind your toes, feeling the density, the tightness of that connection from the sole of your foot up to the top of your foot. Discern the tension, breathe into it. And notice how it shifts and changes and dissolves down through the sole of your foot into the earth. And then explore back into the arch of your foot. Feeling the front of the arch, the middle of the arch, the back of the arch, the inside and the outside. Feeling the brittleness and rigidity of this part of your foot. Feeling the holding on. And just letting that tension flow down through the earth. And then feeling for the band of tension from your baby toe to the back of your foot. Very tight. Opening to that, breathing into it, taking plenty of time. This neurological capacity that you're developing to focus on these very specific areas of your body and your feet, they'll stay with you and they'll carry with you over into your next somatic meditation. It will become your baseline for felt sensation when you feel into this area the next time, when you release tension from the area the next time. And then come into your heel. Feel the tension, feel the density, feel the pain, feel the holding on. Breathe into this area. And just feel the tension pouring down out of this area through your heels, down into the earth. And then breathe into your foot as a whole. Feeling for any remaining pockets of tension in your foot. And allow the tension to release down through the soles of your feet and into the earth. Now breathe into your ankles, feeling your ankle bones on the inside, your ankle bones on the outside, and then breathing into the interior of your ankles, opening up to the density, maybe the numbness, the tension, any gripping and holding on. Noticing how the tension is fluid and shifting and changing, releasing and dissolving down through your heels and into the earth. And opening your awareness to your shins, your shin bones. Breathing into your shin bones, let your awareness be on the inside of your bones. So our bones hold tension as much as our muscles, as our fascia, as our soft tissue. Feel the density of the bones. Feel the tension, feel the numbness. And let that tension release down through the bones. You may be surprised to find you can actually do this and feel the release down through the shin bone. And then breathe into and open your awareness to the smaller bone, to this in the lower leg, your fibula. Open your awareness. The muscles on the outside of the shin bone, breathe into them. Feel the tension. Let it release down. And then open your awareness to your calf muscle at the back of your leg, behind your knee. This very dense muscle from behind your knee all the way down to the Achilles. So the whole lower leg on both sides. Feeling the tension, noticing how it's shifting and changing and fluid, and then completely relaxing and surrendering its tension. And again, you may notice the impact higher up in your body. And if you're letting go elsewhere in your body, just follow that trend, that's fine. Just letting everything go, letting all the tension go. Feeling the tension in the knees, the kneecaps, the insides of your knees, the outsides of your knees, into the dense layers of the knees, the backs of the knees. Feeling the tension, the numbness, releasing tension down into the earth and feeling how the earth is drawing the tension back. So this tension actually originates in the earth, but it's gotten trapped in our mind, in our denial and our repression. So instead of flowing through us, the energy that originates in the earth, it gets stuck in our body. And right now we're just allowing it to return to the earth, going back down into the earth. It's a natural cycle. And what happens in something like anxiety is that we try to appropriate this life force, we try to maintain it, and this energy gets held up in our bodies. This is a pathological ego response. So when we release the energy back into the earth, we're allowing the energy to complete its cycle. So this is a really beautiful energetic ecology. We cut the process off by territorializing it, and by when this life force gets caught up in a kind of egoic anxiety, we're actually not doing a kind of ecologically responsible thing. We're exploiting the energy. So having this energetic cycle is a very ecologically conscious thing to do, to return the energy back to the earth, to keep this cycle of energy going. So check in with your lower leg from your knee, through your ankles, through your feet. Breathe in through your feet, your ankles, your lower leg, your knees. See if there's any remaining tension and let it release down into the earth. And then breathe into your buttocks on either side of the earth. Feel the way they're connecting to the earth. Allow the gripping and holding to let go and feel that increased connection with the earth. Open your awareness to the sensation in your buttocks. Feel the tension and allow the tension to release and relax and let go. So your buttocks is an important access point, an important portal and connection to the earth. Opening your awareness to your pelvic bowl, feeling the tension in the pelvis itself, the bones of the pelvis, your tailbone, your pubic bone. Feeling the tension, allow the tension to release down through the buttocks and into the earth. And then feeling the tension in the pelvic floor, from the genitals, the anus, the perineum. Feel the gripping, feel the tightness, feel the holding on. Breathe into it. And release and let go. And then coming to your upper legs, feeling the femur bone, the upper leg bone, from the knees to the hip bones. Feeling that tension sliding down through your hips, through your buttocks, and into the earth. And then feeling the density in the muscles of the quadriceps, the thighs and the backs of the legs, the hamstrings, the inner thighs and the outer thighs. Just feeling the tension, feeling the gripping, feeling the holding on, and then just feeling how much they're ready to release, dissolve the tension and let go, relax, letting go through the buttocks into the earth. And then feel your mid-back connecting to the earth, where your lower ribs are connecting, and open your awareness to your entire torso. So your belly, feel the tension on your abdominal wall. Feel the tension, the holding, let that abdominal wall, the belly drift back down. And then the tension along the rib cage, the side ribs. Just let that release, let the energy sink down, opening up to the lungs, the organs, the small intestines, the intestines, the adrenals, the kidneys. Feeling the tension of the organs up to the heart center. Just letting the entire area of the torso, the bones, the organs, the lungs, release and let go down through the midpoint of the back. And then opening your awareness to your shoulder blades and feeling their connection to the earth. Breathe into your shoulder blades and feel into the interior of your upper body, especially just inside your shoulder blades, and then into the interior of the upper rib cage, the upper lungs, and up to the collarbones. Feeling the sensations, feeling your body from the inside here, opening to the tension, noticing how this tension shifts, changes, is fluid, and then feel how that tension begins to release, dissolve, and let go down through the shoulder blades, through the earth. And then open your awareness into your head, letting go of your head as a thinking place and opening into it as a place of felt sensation. So feeling the space of your head from the inside. Opening your awareness to your forehead, the space between your eyebrows, all the lines of your forehead, the skin, the space behind the bones of your forehead, feeling the tension, allowing that tension to dissolve, feeling the tension in the temples, and then opening your awareness into the felt sensation of your brain, the front of your brain, the top of your brain, the back of your brain, the interior, the brain stem. Breathing into your brain, letting that tension dissolve through the back of your head and into the earth. Opening your awareness to the tension in your scalp, every follicle of your hair, in your skull. Letting that tension release and dissolve down through the earth and into the ground. Opening your awareness to the tension in your eye sockets, in your eyes. Really feeling the tension that gets held here, the gripping, the holding on, the controlling. And give yourself some time to let this tension release and dissolve, let go. Knowing that you don't need to hold on anymore. Feeling the tension in your mouth, at your jaw, your teeth, your mouth, your upper lip, your lower lip. Allow that tension to come forward and then let it release down through the back of your head and into the earth. And then at the base of your head, at your occipital ridge, feeling for any remaining layers of tension in your head and your face, your inner ears. Just release and dissolve and let go. And then let yourself feel your body as a whole. And breathe into the pores of the skin of your entire body at once, very gently, knowing that your body already does this on its own. And as you do this, Notice that your body will open to other areas that want to relax and release and let go of tension. So as you breathe into the pores of the skin of your entire body, you'll notice that your awareness will open to other areas of tension, and you can just relax and release. Let them go down into the earth. It's a beautiful thing to be present to your body with this much energy and commitment and devotion. And just notice how openly and with how much willingness your body shows you the places that it wants to continue to release tension. So what a beautiful relationship that you have with your body. What an open and trusting relationship that you have to rest here now, feeling what you're feeling, exploring what's coming up, to take your time in this way, to open to your body without judgment or reservation, to be in the state of somatic relaxation and openness is a very beautiful and unique and rare experience. So feel the way your body continually melts into the earth underneath you. And then just let go of any kind of technique whatsoever and let yourself rest in this beautiful state of somatic relaxation. And just feel your body from the inside. Notice what it feels like in your body and notice what it feels like in your mind right now. And then take a moment to acknowledge this time that you've taken for your body and this beautiful practice that you've given your body today. And you can slowly make your way back to our circle. Okay, we have a couple of moments here if anybody wants to check in before we say goodbye for today.
And that was a nice nap. I was with you till little toe. And then just a minute ago.
So sleeping is pretty normal in this kind of meditation, and it's completely fine. You can trust that too. That sometimes our body will go to sleep to get our conscious mind out of the way to do what it needs to do until... Anybody here speak to that, you know, did a lot of sleeping at the beginning until... Jane, I think you did, didn't you? Oh, look at all the nodding. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people can speak to doing a lot of sleeping at the beginning until they were ready to be conscious through the practice of this meditation.
I feel better either way. I'll take it.
Yeah, it still works. You're still getting the effects of the practice. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anybody else want to check in on anything before we close out for today?
I want to say thank you.
Welcome.
I've never felt more like a rolled out piece of pastry. With like it kind of undulated, but I wasn't getting any tension in my toes, but it was really releasing things in other parts of the body. And then at the very end, my big toe started to complain, and I thought, well, hang on a minute, you weren't before, so I know I can release you.
Yeah, so that's really normal too. I think, I mean, I guess my guess on that is that like it takes a while for those neural pathways to open, and I think also because the toes are so far from the brain, it takes a while, and that will often happen in my practice too. That I'll be, even though I can sometimes feel the tension in the big toes or through the toes, it will actually happen much later in my practice that they'll release. So I think that's part of the whole neural pathway connection. And they are literally the furthest part in our body from our brain too. And I think there's something to that. So it does take time for those neural pathways to build, and they do build, and you will over time open to that tension.
And I think my brain had difficulty because I do quite a lot of yoga nidra, and obviously that's going round the body, and this was kind of more balancing, thinking of both sides together.
Yes. Yeah, that's a different, yes.
which is kind of, that's my brain was thinking, oh, I've got to shift to left and right at the same time.
I honestly still struggle with that part of this practice.
Right.
After a year of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But whereas Yoga Nidra kind of sort of puts you above ground in a way, this is definitely really, you know, I was thinking in a nice way.
Yeah, this practice grounding. It builds you. There's a practice that you go to after this. It builds you into a relationship with the earth. This practice is foundational to a practice that comes called Earth Descent, where you actually go into the earth.
Okay. Because when you said 10 points at the end, I'm thinking I've got, there aren't 10 points.
I forgot 2 today.
No, it was like I'm a piece of pastry.
Oh yeah, no, I know it's kind of weird.
My whole back which was wonderful. So thank you.
And that is, I think, the intention of the practice, that by the end is that you have released all those egoic structures so that you are literally just a blob. You've let go of your sense of self, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being here. If I might speak to Linda and Jane before I say goodbye I'll say goodbye to everybody else, because they will be covering for me next week. I'm going to be on a meditation intensive next week. So Linda and Jane will be covering the morning class anyway. I'll be back in the afternoon. So thank you for being here this week, and I'll be away the next 2 weeks. Yeah. Next week for meditation intensive, and then the following week for camping. But you will be in very good hands. Linda, Jane, and Michelle will be covering the classes and giving talks and leading the meditation. And as you know, when they do that, you guys have more fun when I'm gone anyway. So still come. See, Lucille tells you. It's more fun without me. Okay, thank you for being here. Namaste.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.